Welcome to 320 Workshops. Come on in, let me show you around. So last shop tour I did was 2023. I had just retired and started 320 Workshops. Since then, I've been working in the shop pretty much every day. So being in the shop full time, you do notice things that aren't right about it, things that could be moved, things that could be better organized. And I've made some improvements to since the last video, but I've also got some improvements that I want to make in this upcoming year. Those are all going to be subject to video, and I will point those out as we go along. So to give you an overview, this shop is 34 feet wide and 22 feet deep. It's all brick, well insulated. The inside walls are paneled. It's heated and air conditioned, and all in all, a very comfortable shop to work in. So let's show you around. Over here by the door, I've got these shelves. They're not very deep because they're behind the door, and they're just a mess. This is where I keep varnishes, stains, different finishes, different epoxies and things like that. And it's just disorganized and sloppy looking. What I want to do is I'm going to take this out. I'll put in some adjustable shelves so I can be more efficient with the space. And I think I'm going to try to put some doors on the front of it just to kind of hide the mess a little bit. So on this side of the door, got a fire extinguisher, of course, and a first aid station. I think a first aid station is extremely important for a workshop. I've got a fire blanket, eye wash, a tourniquet, a standard first aid kit, burn kit. So we're ready to go if anything happens, and hopefully I never have to use this. So then next to that is this bench. This bench was kind of a mechanic's bench that used to be at the other end of the shop. I took the casters off it, put it over here so that it would be a little bit lower, and this kind of adds to my sharpening station. So then this is my main sharpening station. There's a video about this where I organize the drawers. I have my sharpening stones here that can be lifted out and placed here to work on them. This cabinet has just glues and cleaning supplies. And then over here, I've done a couple videos about these. This is my H.O. and Studley inspired tool cabinet with all my hand tools in it. I just made improvements to this over the last couple months. I will be making a change in the future because I did acquire a #1 Stanley that I need to put in a very nice holding stand. This unit also has a video about it. This is a double hinged door, so it can set here in front of this other cabinet. I've got some sharpening tools, some various secondary storage, and then some more planes behind there. So one thing you'll notice that drives me crazy is when I did this, I have a nice cabinet on this side and it's not balanced with a nice cabinet on this side. So what I'm going to be doing is building another cabinet similar to the one on the right here on the left. So once I build the new cabinet, I'll move this set of shelves down a bit. This set of shelves was built out of the top of my father's workbench when I took the top off of it. And I think I want to do here, where I've got a lot of storage for batteries and tape and things like that, the top part I want to make some pigeonholes to put my sandpaper in it so that it's, really easily accessible. I don't particularly care for this. It doesn't feel quite right. So I'm going to take this set of shelves down. I want to put these in a different kind of storage, put these in different storage, and build a saw till. I have my charging station here, and then below that is an old file drawer cabinet, and I've just got supplies in there, some secondary tools like rasps and knives and things like that in here. Of course, one of the most important tools you have in the workshop is your workbench. This workbench I built probably about 7 years ago. It's 4-inch thick solid maple on maple legs, very heavy. It's got, I think they're called Selden vices. It's an old kind of, you just clamp it in one time like that. I have a 2-screw vise here from Lee Nielsen, and then on this side, a pattern maker's vise. Underneath is nothing right now but kind of some storage. One of the projects I want to do coming up is to build a nice cabinet underneath the bench with some drawers and some trays to store like carving chisels so that I can bring them up, set them on the bench while I'm working. So that's going to be an upcoming video. I have my garbage can underneath of it. And then on this side, the bench doesn't have a tail vise, but I do have one of these little Veritas, kind of acts like a small tail vise, and that works really pretty nice. You can tell that this is kind of a hybrid bench. It is designed like a woodworking bench, but it's much wider. It's 70 inches long and about 33 inches wide. So it's really a pretty good size assembly table. I can take the pattern maker's vise off, and this is all flat. So it really is a very serviceable size for me. So here in front of the door is an MFT table that I built on a base. This is used mostly with my Shaper Origin. I have a place to put the workstation. I have the plate down here on the side and a little holster. My Origin's under here, all the supplies for it and router bits. I also have a vacuum press here. So when I'm doing veneering, I can lay my vacuum bag at the top here and run the vacuum press on this. Over here, I have my X-Tool laser, and I have the computer for that, an iPad for music and listening to that kind of stuff. This is basically screws and supplies that I have in these little Festool drawers and organizers. Very convenient to be able to take this with me if I need to, or just pull out the drawer with everything labeled what's in it. Okay, sorry for bouncing around here a little bit, but here's the lower part of this bench on the front side. It's just some shelves that I built out of some scrap plywood. It's, again, sloppy. I don't like it being open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rebuild this with some slide out drawer shelves and some cabinet doors to close this up and neaten it up a little bit. Now behind me is my father's workbench. This is the workbench that I grew up with and learned woodworking on. It's right now just kind of a flat surface. Underneath of it are some cabinets that were from other projects. This used to be under the bench. This used to be over there where that table is. So I don't like the way this looks. I'm going to tear these out and build some more efficient cabinets under here, maybe some sustainer drawers, maybe some storage for like shooting boards and things like that. But this is going to get changed up. The two big drawers at the end there have spray paints and some clamps and miscellaneous things like that. I've got this antique Wilton bullet vise, I always called them. It's very solid, very heavy. So now above the bench here, you can see my clamp storage. This has just got some measuring tools and things like that in it. And then I have, this is my upside down clamp rack, where there's also a video of this out there. I found it much easier with these big Bessie. It was a little easier to pick them up. So that worked really nice. In that video, I built this taller one for some longer clamps. I didn't have enough clamps to fill it up, so it ended up kind of becoming a makeshift saw till. That's another reason why I want to make the saw till over there. So my table saw is here in the middle of the shop, and we'll get to that in a few minutes and talk about that. Over here I have my Capex. Again, two more movable cabinets with lots of drawer storage in it. I have everything from tape to brushes to veneer tools to jig parts, all kinds of things stored in here. Above that, I have some more of these cabinets like this around the shop. These came from an office space that we remodeled, and they were going to be pitched, so I brought them home and put them up. They're okay, but I'm not crazy about them. And I do want to build some new wall cabinets in here. So those will probably go away. And then I've got this old spool cabinet that I keep my drawing stuff in for drawing plans and things like that. There is some just storage of electrical things and casters and antique parts and projects that I'm working on. Again, the Capex, I have some small clamp storage here and some zero clearance and different things that I want to cut small and delicate. So those are there. Of course, Jack Daniels keeps an eye on everything. Over here, I've got my wood storage, and this is usually the wood that I've got for upcoming projects. And this part is really kind of scrap cutoffs that I probably ought to throw away, but if you're like me, I never can. Okay, so here's the saw. I have a saw stop table saw here, and I've got this panel sled here that really is very convenient. The crossbar usually stays underneath because it gets in the way when I'm ripping. This is by far the best table saw I've ever used. I got a nice outfeed table here. And when I replaced my old table saw, which was a 1980s Delta tilting arbor saw, kind of a cheap version of a unisaw, but it worked for me for a long time. But when I upgraded that, I didn't get rid of it. I've got it in the back here with just a dado stack on it. So if I need a quick dado or rabbet, I can use that to cut it. If I'm going to do a whole lot, I'll probably still put the dado stack on the top here. Underneath the extension on this side, I have just a small tool cabinet that I keep the dado stack, gauge blocks, just different things that go with the table saw. What I do want to do is, you can see underneath here, there's just a whole lot of crap that just gets shoved underneath there. What I want to do is rebuild this outfeed table that will integrate with the extension on the old Delta saw, and then put some cabinet drawers underneath here, organize it, because that table saw doesn't have dust collection on it. And I'm a big fanatic with dust collection, so I want to get that hooked up properly. So all of this will be kind of revamped and improved dramatically. Now this is kind of my milling station. I have a 15-inch Powermatic planer with the Helic cutters. Really love this planer. And then I have an 8-inch Laguna joiner, also with the helical carbide cutters. These do a really good job bringing the material flat. And so I've got all this here pretty convenient. To this side is a garage door that I usually bring the lumber in, and that works pretty well. Here I have a router table. This is a saw stop router table. It does have the cast iron top, which I think is a real luxury to have. I love this cast iron top. It makes this extremely heavy and very sturdy. Dust collection, the dust collector is probably near its last leg. It still works, but it makes some really funky noises sometimes. Air compressor, I have over by the bench. I also have one here to blow off things that I need to. A disc sander, and my 14-inch bandsaw. These aren't connected to the dust collector right now because I had to rearrange things. So I want to do a drop over here. All my dust collection pipes are in the attic above the ceiling. And so I need to bring something down here, but there is a garage door right there. Now, while I don't use it, I don't particularly want to block that. So I've got to figure out how I want to bring the pipes down to get to these two tools. Now in this corner, you can see that 14-inch bandsaw is right here by my lathe. On the lathe, I've got all my lathe tools up on the wall. I've got a cabinet here to hold pen making parts, finishes, things like that. So I've got some different storage up here. And then my drill press and my drum sander. Again, I don't have the dust collection down to this, so I've got to get that put in place. Now here's my 18-inch Laguna bandsaw. I keep a 1.25" resaw blade on this pretty much all the time, and use it almost exclusively for ripping and resawing. It's very convenient to use that with some warped wood or funky wood that you want to cut down a little bit. I am really pleased to have both an 18-inch bandsaw plus the 14-inch that I can keep a smaller blade on it, and I don't have to be constantly changing the blades back and forth. Now back on this wall is kind of a lot of junk. I want to take all of this and clean it up. What I think I'm going to do is build cabinets here, ceiling to floor, with some doors on it to clean this up. I've got my wood storage over here, so I have some plywood that I need to be able to slide out, so I can't come all the way over. So I do have some figuring to do on that, but we'll see how that turns out. But I do have like a belt grinder here. These are some more part storage here. Then these are camera stuff for the videos. And then just some different storage here for plastic bags and work gloves and parts for the bandsaw and things like that. So coming back here by the router table, like I said, the garage door here is where I usually bring the lumber in. I've got a bench here that I built a while back. The blanket and toys is for Tanner. He's usually in here with me, but he decided to stay inside with his mother today. Now, one of the downsides to this shop, I have no water in this shop. So what I've got is bottled water that does have a hot water dispenser on it. So I can have basically hot and cold running water. So it's not a huge inconvenience, but if I had my way, yeah, I'd have running water in here. So other than that, this is a great shop. Downside of a garage also is the concrete floors. As I get older and I'm in here more and more, standing on the concrete really does bother my legs and back. So I'm going to put in some wood floors. I'm going to use a product for putting a subfloor in the basement, which is just plywood and a spacer and some insulation, and then probably top that with some kind of wood flooring. That's going to be a big job. I'll have to wait till the weather warms up a little bit. I think the best way for me to do that will be to take all of these tools out, put them over in the car garage on the house, lay down the flooring, and then bring everything back in. So that'll be another video coming up.
So I hope you enjoyed the tour of my shop and found something useful that you can incorporate in your shop as well. You can see we have a number of projects coming up, and I will be making videos on those, and hope you will tune in to see those as well. Thanks for stopping by.